Hi, everyone. I'm Colleen. I'm here with my friend Richard Malette again. Richard is an astrologer, and we are going to continue the conversation about walking the talk with astrology. Thanks for joining me, Richard.
My pleasure again. I'm so excited to do this again. It was so much fun the first time, so very, very happy to be here. Thank you.
Last week, we were talking about, the full moon in Libra. But during the video, you mentioned that it's helpful to know somebody's big three. You said that astrologers sometimes introduce themselves to each other like that, like with what their sun, moon, and rising sign is. And I found that really intriguing. Like it made me want to know more about sun, moon, and rising, and maybe some others for other people, because I think it would help you to relate to people. Today, we're going to talk about Taurus because we are heading into Taurus season as we're recording this. So, Richard, why is the big three important, and how does that help you to, relate to people or to walk the talk with your own astrology?
Walk the talk with your own astrology. That just sounds really good, the way you said that. So everyone knows their sun sign. However, even then, many people don't realize when they say your sign that it's your sun sign. Some people still haven't learned that where Taurus is here, that means that the sun wasn't Taurus when we were born. And it's so cool that we're beginning with Taurus because that's both our sun
Yeah,
signs. But then when you add your rising sign, and that's so much more information about your natural, instinctive, social personality, your authentic social personality. How you come across, the first vibe we give off, or the way we operate in the world. Knowing that too is so much more validating for us and how we our normal natural personality. And because we often create a personality, we construct one that we think is going to be great, but when you know what time you're born, you know your rising sign or ascendant, then you can just flow with your natural personality easier and more consciously.
right.
Understanding other people too. I was like, oh, okay. And you can play with that. First of all, the energy, like, can you feel the energy? And knowing your moon sign, it's just as important as your sun sign is, because your sun sign does not talk about your emotional intelligence, which is huge, and that's the domain of the moon. So knowing your moon sign is the gateway to understanding someone's emotional energy, their instincts, their emotional reactions, and more importantly, what nurtures them, what feeds them, what nourishes them, and how they can also nurture and nourish and take care of other people too. So that's so much valuable information.
So the rising sign is basically how you present yourself to the world naturally. And the moon sign is, how do I sum that up? And that what you need emotionally?
Yes.
And then what's the sun sign then?
Oh, right. Your sun sign. Yeah, it is the way I frame it. It's the energy of your vitality. So the more that you nurture and feed your sun sign, the more vitality you feel.
So is it like what's important to you to feel good? I'm a one-liner person. I need one-liners.
Yeah, sorry, I can't keep it to just one word or one sentence, but there's two things. It's your vitality and your identity.
Okay.
For example, as Taurus is for us to stay, for anybody with a sun in Taurus or Taurus rising or Taurus moon, the big three, it's really important for us to stay connected to nature. The more time we spend in nature, in the earth element, the more we honor our body in the physical realms, the more vitality we feel and express.
So I just want to talk more about how that factors into sun, moon, and rising. Because it's a little different for each, right?
So let's go into more, I think some basic understanding, if that's okay, of like
Yeah.
the energy of Taurus, and then we'll talk about how that can show up in your rising or moon sign.
Okay.
So it's important to understand a few things that about Taurus, and so we've got the dates down, the body parts too. Like it's so cool. Many people don't realize there's body parts that connect to the zodiac signs.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier. I didn't know that.
Aries is the head, and so headstrong, going battle, barreling through. And then Taurus is And then we have the neck and the throat and the shoulders. These are strong or and sensitive areas for Taurus. I,
Oh,
for me, like yeah, it's always a sensitive area, my neck and shoulders and the throat too. And
me too. Wow, I didn't know this.
that's why one of the archetypes for Taurus is the artist and the musician. So the singer too, many singers are Tauruses. So that
Ah,
magic, and the sounds that the throat can make. And you think about, Taurus, the bull, working out in the fields, and they're connected to their, shoulders here. So we're connected to that energy of the power that we have in our neck and shoulders too. It's also part of the Taurus magic. And then there's the archetypes. Really, really important to understand the archetypes. Just a few key words, and you got again the essence of astrology through the signs. So Taurus, the archetypes, the earth spirit. We're earth spirits, so we're connected to the earth in a really spiritual way too. We can
okay.
explore that more if you want. That's a juicy one to go down. And
Sure.
the I mentioned the artist, the musician archetype that Libra shares with Taurus. And the reason why I'm talking about Libra now is that Taurus and Libra both are ruled by the planet Venus, the planet
Oh,
of love and beauty and art. So Taurus and Libra are the artists of the zodiac.
I didn't know that two could be ruled by the same planet.
Yeah, there's
There's
lots.
so much information here.
And the other archetype, my favorite archetype, going back to the spiritual connection to all the signs, to Taurus, I love talking about Taurus as the Buddha.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not sure if we even talked about that yet.
no.
There's some debate about when the Buddha was born, but there is some evidence that points to the Buddha being born in Taurus time. And
Oh,
I love that, because Buddha taught about peace.
yeah.
And that's the magic of Taurus is peace.
Yeah.
I'm thinking a lot of people are going, wow, that's new information they never heard before. It seems that we often hear about the shadow side of the signs more than the
Yes.
light or the magic. I like to use the term, the magic of the sign. And so the shadow side of Taurus is materialism.
Oh,
Right? How often have we heard Taurus linked to materialism, buying stuff and hoarding stuff? And that's the shadow side. It's a very physical sign. It loves to that physical quality of like having stuff and touch, seeing them and touching them, back to the sensuality of Taurus. But that's not
interesting.
the end point.
I don't know if I've heard about the materialism. For me, the Taurus, what I would know as a shadow side would be the headstrong, like in a bad way, like stubborn.
I was debating whether I should go with materialism or stubborn first because you hear the stubborn word a lot. I've heard it so many times.
Oh, well, and I've definitely exhibited some behavior like that.
Saying I for years and years I denied it. I'm like, I'm not stubborn. I can recognize that in myself now. It's true. Um, and so there's one thing I haven't spoken about yet is the element and the mode. So Taurus is an earth sign. I did talk about the earthiness. So it's practical. Taurus, like all the earthy signs are practical. 2 + 2 = 4, like just basic stuff, like some signs try and twist the facts or the truth, and Taurus is like, this is the truth. It's practical, it's real, it's tangible, it's grounded, and
Down to earth, right?
down to earth. Exactly.
Very cool.
So here's one more quality that most people haven't heard of. Every sign connects to one element and to one mode, sometimes called a quality, cardinal signs, fixed signs, and mutable signs.
Yeah. I don't know anything about that.
Right. You've heard the terms before. So Aries begins with a cardinal sign. It's always about beginning and initiating. And then Taurus, the second sign of the zodiac, is a fixed sign, the first of the fixed signs, which is about maintaining stability. continuity, persistence, determination. That's where the shadow side of that is being attached to things and the stubbornness. It's a byproduct of being a fixed sign.
So the shadow side of it is what?
Stubbornness
Stubbornness. And the positive side, or what do you call it? The magic side
is stability.
of fixed would be stability. Okay. Okay.
The Taurus, the bull, and the cow, is a very peaceful and very calm and very stable energy.
Of course, I'm comparing this all to myself because we happen to be recording this right before both of our birthdays when we're both Tauruses. So I'm taking all these qualities and thinking about myself, it's like, am I stable? Yeah, like I'm very, very stable and grounded. And if it's not that way, I make it that way pretty quick, Interesting. So that's what I mean. Like all these characteristics, people can use those to know yourself better and to like watch for the shadow side, right? To monitor whether I'm getting too material, like putting too much important on materialism or being too stubborn or whatever, to take it over to the positive side of it. But also people can use that to know that about somebody else, right? If you find out that but so that's more like what we're talking about there is more if somebody's sun is in Taurus. Am I right?
Well, these are just the general characteristics of Taurus, generally speaking,
Okay.
which are usually strong in your sun sign, but it can be very strong in someone's rising sign and of course someone's moon sign, which are the biggest energies, but there's more. But those are the big three, as we say.
But how would we translate that then if somebody's moon is in Taurus? Because we said that the moon sign is like, well, I summed it up, you didn't, but it's what you need emotionally to feel, I don't know what.
So the moon energy is like understanding first in oneself and then someone else. So if someone has the moon in Taurus, so that means that they really need Taurus energy to feel happy and safe and complete. It's a little bit more unconscious than your sun sign. But when you know it, then you can realize, oh, that's why I just feel like even though I'm a Aries or a Gemini or whatever my sun sign is, having the moon in Taurus is like, yes, get outside, and that's your happy place.
Okay.
Because let's say, for example, you're a Gemini with sun with Taurus moon. And so Gemini sun is very cerebral, it's very intellectual, it's very airy. The brain is like going on all the time. And so having a Taurus moon is like, okay, let me go outside, let me connect with nature, and I will feel calmer.
Oh, it gives you an idea of how you can, okay, how you
Uh,
can make yourself feel better.
Happier.
Did you also tell me that with Taurus, that there's also like being slow,
Yeah.
so also because that Gemini sounded like they might be running around or doing things a lot, thinking about things a lot. And so is the moon in Taurus like, am I on the right track? Like you need slow.
Oh, you got it. Very intuitively. So someone with the moon in Taurus, like allowing themselves to remember to slow down their pace, just take breaks, just to pause, just to be ideally outside and just to have some silence. It's really, really important about Taurus all across the board. Simplicity. Keeping things simple, sweetie. Keep it
Is
simple. That's Taurus magic. I've often thought about that. I like to operate slow. I can be fast sometimes, but generally speaking, I love to take it slow, easy, simple. And I think the world is so complex. From Taurus's point of view, that the peaceful Buddha is sitting out there in the field going, what's going on out there, you guys? Just come back to nature, come back to simplicity. What's really core and fundamental and really, really important to our happiness.
there's so much in here that you say that it's just so me. Like I hear it, it's like that's why I'm like that, and that's why I want. I mean, I could live in a cabin in the bush and with like off grid with nobody around. Um, the only thing about me that I guess you don't necessarily have all of them. Like I'm not the slow.
No.
Like There's nothing slow about me.
However, the fact that your soul chose to be born as Taurus sun this lifetime, because your soul's wisdom chose that, that means that fundamentally, at a very core fundamental level, for you to operate slowly, drive slowly, walk slowly, is going to help you to really
Oh.
embody Taurus energy more.
It's like something that my soul planned for me to need to work towards. And that's why, as I said it, I thought, well, Colleen, actually, as you get older, you're getting slower. And I don't just mean like more decrepit, slower walking. I just mean like you're right. I'm driving slower. I'm doing everything slower. I'm taking on less, bookings with my side gig and like just all the things that I need to do to slow down as I get older and into more wisdom. So I planned that. Oh, ever
Um,
cool.
we mention that because this to me is super, super important in teaching and learning astrology, that it's not some kind of static description. You're a Taurus. Oh, that means that you are like this and this and this. That's missing the point. It's a recipe to live your happiest life and most meaningful life and most empowered life by following the wisdom that's in your birth chart that your soul programmed before you were born.
So it's not necessarily just that this is me, this is how it is. You're born like this, and that's a programming that you were given. It's a goal. That's brand new. Thank you. So if you're moon in Taurus, that too is like learn to make yourself feel better by doing like Taurus things like slowing down and going outside and all that. It's not necessarily that you already know that.
Right. And so this is the thing about learning astrology and learning your chart is like you can more consciously embody the magic of the chart and the magic of the signs as opposed to the shadow side or the unconscious expression.
Right.
And
Cool.
so moon in Taurus, like that's the key to your emotional happiness, specifically your moon in Taurus, keeping things simple keeps you happy, emotionally calm and stable and happy and peaceful. And so somebody with a rising Taurus,
Mhm.
so they is the first vibe that we get when you got Taurus rising. So knowing that in someone else, and they can appear very calm on the surface. And you get to know them better and like, oh, they're way more dynamic or fast moving or than they when they first seemed. So if someone with Taurus rising appears that way, and that is important for them to begin their day when your ascendant is like when you go out the door and you embrace the world, and it's through the rising sign that we engage with the world. It's like the front door of our being is through the
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
now, when we meet people, it's through the ascendant. So in terms of like meeting people, and the first impression we get, but it's not just an impression, it's the way that you live your life in a really core way when you're really out there in the world, interacting with the world.
Well, that could be useful in relating to somebody else too, because there's more going on with them than, like you said, than you see on the surface.
Yeah, so they could have other signs as their sun sign and moon sign, but regardless of all that, having Taurus rising guarantees that there is something very stable that their soul wanted to as well, to stay grounded in themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they may not always operate instinctively fast, because the rising sign is also our instincts in a lot of ways. When someone, kind of when things happen that you don't predict or can't control, what's your initial reaction to it? That's your rising sign.
Ah,
So someone with Taurus rising would be pretty chill about something happening right off the bat. Whereas somebody with a fire sign rising would be quick, very fast to respond. So knowing somebody has a Taurus rising sign and there's something happening around them that's triggering other people who might think, why are you moving so slow? I got Taurus rising. I just need to really take my time with this right now.
so sun, moon, and rising. And are there other ones that are helpful in other? So those are the big three. That's what you said. Astrologers sometimes that's how they introduce themselves, right? But what else? What other signs, or what are they called? They're not signs. What other aspects?
Planets.
Planets. Yeah.
Yeah, we had talked about doing Mercury and Venus in terms of like communication and relating to somebody. So if we're focusing on how to really because our first video was all about navigating relationships, right? And so to continue on that theme, knowing your Mercury and your Venus, yeah, I would say are the next most important ones. Mercury
Okay,
is how your mind works and your natural voice and communication patterns.
right.
We talked and laughed a lot about that, how it's different for us. I have Mercury in Taurus, it is slower. Calling Mercury in Aries, the fire.
Explains so much. So what's Mercury and Taurus like?
Well, that's me. And so Mercury in Taurus is really keeping it simple. And I find, for example, when I'm teaching, I do like to teach the basic fundamental things, keeping it nice and simple right off the bat. I've heard a lot of people trying to learn astrology from other people, and it's like, whoa, it's like overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so I feel that I used to kind of feel like, oh, why can't my mind be faster? I don't process very quickly. And yet, as a teacher, I've really come to appreciate how I have Mercury and Taurus for a reason to
Yeah.
really slow down and simplify the teaching that people understand right away.
Yeah, and like lay it out in pieces, like and put it all together in the end.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
So that's Mercury and Taurus.
So it's very simple and like I don't know what word we're using there, organized or whatever, but also
Prac-
like practical. Okay.
Practical, organized, keeping it real, functional, practical, and communication.
Okay, and then what's Venus?
So Venus, yeah, which is one of the planet that rules Venus. So having Venus and Taurus is a strong connection. So Venus is like, your love language, how you express love and affection, your aesthetic taste and qualities, Venus, the people you're drawn to, Venus, and you've got Venus and Taurus. And so anybody with Venus and Taurus really has a love for Taurus energy, love for nature, very, very much a love for nature. And to people who are Taurus energy too. You're drawn to people with Taurus energy.
Okay, because I want that peacefulness, right? Like that's in the energy that I'm getting back from them.
Yeah,
Stable people and nature.
right. And when you're, yeah, stable people, and when you're in nature, you feel peace and you feel stability.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're so happy. Anybody with Venus and Taurus is very happy. Their heart is singing when they're in nature.
If you don't know what your sun, moon, and rising are, there's a free way to get a chart, but you can also book a reading. I will put the links to book a reading with Richard. But also, if people want to pull a quick chart, they can go to.
There's many places you can go for a free chart, but astro.com is the most popular one.
Right. Okay. So you can pull a chart from astro.com, but if you do want to have a fantastic reading where Richard explains your entire chart to you, it was very eye-opening for me. Just get a hold of him and you can do a reading on Zoom. Well, Richard, that was so informative and helpful. Thanks so much. Hopefully we can use this knowledge to walk the talk, right? Both to in thinking about our own Taurus qualities and in interacting with other people who have Taurus qualities. And I hope you'll join me again in about a month, right? For what are we doing next? Gemini?
Gemini, thank you so much. That was so much fun. I just love this. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
And thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you soon.